Hi. In the recently concluded World Ayurveda Congress, sadly, we did not have enough time to explain the presentation in detail and I had to rush through. But I'm going to start with a small series wherein I'll be picking important highlights from the presentation and discussing some of the terms and their relevance to Ayurveda. In that series, I begin with the Boltzmann's constant. Now, Boltzmann's constant comes from the mathematical expression pressure times volume is equal to number of molecules times the temperature times a constant 1.38 times 10 to the power minus 23. This mathematical number 1.38 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 23 is of significance and is called the Boltzmann's constant. This arises when we discuss thermodynamics in the perspective that energy cannot be created or destroyed, and this is the first law of thermodynamics. The first law of thermodynamics also believes that the atoms are all, or the particles that are being discussed are all monoatomic. It also believes that the state is largely gaseous. Now, let me bring it to the perspective of Ayurveda, why it becomes significant. When we talk about this perspective, the significance, the point that comes to the notice and needs to be acknowledged is that Ayurveda or modern science both believe that elements or matter came out of ether or plasma state of matter, which is the fourth state of matter, beyond solid, liquid, and gas. While there are different takes in modern medicine or modern science to say more about matter and its formation, in Ayurveda, it has been universally called to have been made out of five elements: Kshiti, the earth; Jal, or water; Pavak, fire; Gagan, space; and Samir as air. Of these, Gagan is more of a space in which everything is housed, and fire is a heat or energy symbolic which is leading to the functions of the other remaining three. So, principally, it is three: Kshiti, Jal, and Samir, which lead to formation of various matter and particles. If I were to delve a little more with the Boltzmann's constant and heat dynamics, thermodynamics being the subject at the core, uh, every particle which we are calling as monoatomic, if we take it to the plasma core or we take it to the Ayurvedic context, we forget about it being an atom or a molecule, but it just becomes a particulate matter, a particle. And that particle is supposed to be composed of five elements, each of them having a space, each of them having three components: earthy, watery, and airy. Earthy giving it a solidity or some sort of a shape, watery giving it its character, kind of bonding, and airy its dynamics. Now, when we are looking at this perspective and we get towards the quantum side, quantum energy or quantum dynamics only allow us to go beyond the particle aspect, and wherein if you explore at the speed of light, it is something like time is nowhere and it's only a mass, or there's only time and there is no mass. Amid this, what quantum scientists today say is there's nothing as particle, there's nothing as something, it is only wave patterns, and these wave patterns are nothing but reflections of energy. So, Quantum sciences today in modern science say there is nothing like particle, and it is only the consolidation of energy as it coalesces and comes together that it takes shape of various particulate objects which we call as elements, right from hydrogen till the last one in the periodic table. And each of these atoms or molecules has an inherent character of being dynamic relative to Samir. Each of these molecules has components, and each of them, those components are held together relative to Jal or the watery bonding, which is by virtue of magnetic effects and electrolytic, electrostatic effects, and then a solid structure of each of these particles, the atomic particles, taking shape as an atom or a molecule. So, in principle, Boltzmann's constant is the perhaps the first reference for decoding life. Because if particulate theory and quantum theory come together, then everything that impacts life, life processes, and the system within which life exists, that is the body of a human or a animal or a plant, everything is nothing but translation and transduction of those energy waveforms which have gone slower over the period to assume shapes of various molecules, and those molecules have come together to form substances. Those substances have taken different shapes, some animate, some inanimate. And the function of animation and non animation becomes critical to the aspect of specific energies, latent energies, active energies, potential energies, passive energies, the various forms or subjects in which energy is discussed and is divided. So, in this brief, in this gist, the first thing that we come down to maybe appreciate is that Ayurveda is dealing not with medicine. Medicine just is an application of a much higher science which is actually supposed to be dealing with matter, energy, and their dynamics. This element sadly is not discussed, and going forward with this series in parts, I will look to share my understanding, my resolutions about how I have been seeing, and this also gives me a very strong belief that when energy dynamics are different, when components are becoming different at the macro level, while at the micro level it is the same Panchmahabhoot, the macro picture being different for each of the subjects will yield nothing less than a different environment. Those differences will show up as different prakritis, and that's why prakriti is not the same for everyone. It is not the same in the same conditions for everyone. It is not the same for different conditions for the same person, and that is why it remains dynamic. Thank you.